I just want to take a few minutes to just let one thing sink in. This is actually the last Sunday that I'll be doing a video here, probably. I mean, maybe if something comes up, I'll do something here, maybe, or if I have to leave Keuka Lake early for, whatever reason, and I want to do a video on it afterwards, that's fine, but I don't know. I'm not going to be doing a video in here until October. So, 18 weeks from now, give or take. So, considering that, and considering that the Season 2 finale of Amphibia premiered proper last night, and, obviously I had a second viewing, I think I could probably talk about that a little bit. But first, let's get to my low, my high, my act of kindness. And I'm not going to lie, I thought yesterday was a terrible day. I wound up having to do, here's the thing, it involves doing my act of kindness, but in the interim, it involves something I really didn't want to do. Because, for the most part, this will be the last Saturday I have to myself, here. I mean, there'll be some Saturday morning videos I have here, in, again, those 18 weeks. But after that video is done, I'm immediately heading up to, Keuka Lake. My point is, my last Saturday I wanted to be here, and at the last minute, my brother and my sister are going shopping for a car, and my father and my mother had to get, the boat for Keuka Lake, so I helped my dad get the boat. I mean, it's not like I was gone the entire day. I was gone for about, 4 hours, give or take. But it can really add up in a day, because you only have 24 in a day, So, to make up for it, I mean, yeah, I guess my high is also the fact that I got to have dinner with my mom and dad. But here's the kicker, though, and as well as my reward for helping them. See, around this time of year, especially after Lent's over, I keep telling my folks, if there's somewhere you want to go that's not Sorge's for dinner when we have it, make your call now, because starting next week, we're up at Keuka Lake all the time. So you got, you have literally a baker's dozen of great places up at Keuka Lake. You have the Antique Inn, you have the Switzerland Inn, you have Top of the Lake, you have the Wagner, you have Seneca Farms, you have the Village Tavern, you have Timberstone. The list goes on and on. So, there really was no better way to describe how awesome it was when, for the final weekend before we started going up to Keuka Lake, we got libs. 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 Sorry. For those of you who are new, Libs is arguably the best place for a bite to eat in my entire area. Them and Moretti's are the best. And it's not even close. Between both places, they've been open for over 150 years at least. So when I tell you that they're the best, I'm being serious. And we had Libs, and it was fantastic. Because here's the thing, I was kind of thinking about doing a sort of, it's not really a secret anymore if I tell you, but eventually I want to take photos of all the items on my full course menu. So, obviously I took a photo of my dinner, like everyone else does, because it really was Instagram worthy. But I think I'm going to wait until I actually find all the other items proper. I mean, I have posted my dessert at least, but I could always do it again. Why not? That's always good. And, I'll be able to do it at other places as well, so. Although if I do this, I am going to have to somehow get back to Gettysburg College again. Fine, I just wearing that shirt yesterday. So yeah, my low is I did something I didn't want to do. My high is I got to spend the day and my evening with my folks, and I got a really sweet dinner out of it. And my act of kindness was I helped my dad bring the boat in for the summer. So, yeah. And now this is the final Sunday until we start going to Keuka Lake, and there's no better way to celebrate than by talking about the season 2 finale of Amphibia again and having my little cousin Oliver's birthday. He's at least 3 years old, so I really wouldn't call him a baby anymore. He's still a little guy, I guess. But good morning, happy Sunday, everybody. So, season 2 finale of Amphibia. Good news, it still holds up. Okay, that's the end of the video. Bye. No, I would not do that to my audience. I don't want to disappoint my audience by giving them something that's, is only halfway. I will not do that to you. So, you guys are probably wondering, you already talked about it when it leaked. What's there to talk about again? Well, believe it or not, there actually is several things I could mention that I didn't mention before. I know in the first time I did this, I praised the voiceover acting in the episode and the animation, which, again, they all still hold up fantastically. It's only been a couple of weeks, so, of course the quality is gonna dip or anything. I was actually able to watch it last night at my folks' place before I went home. So they got to, my father's been sort of watching with me a little bit. And he doesn't really like it, but at the same time, he does love spending time with me, so it's a win-win, I guess. And, he thought it was, here's the thing, you have to understand, my parents are obviously not that interested in Amphibia, obviously. In fact, my mom makes fun of me for being over 30 years old and liking this show, which, I got news for you, ladies and gentlemen. Lots of people my age love shows like this. There's not only do they love shows like this, they're still talking about shows from the 90s and the early 2000s that, my generation grew up with. So, if you're over 30 years old like I am, you like a show like Ed, Edd n Eddy, or Steven Universe, or Codename Kids Next Door, the good news is, you're not alone. The bad news is, you're always going to find a hater who's going to make fun of you for it. Sort of a give and take, I guess. Although, to be perfectly honest, the good, as long as I keep an open mind and remain optimistic, the good is always going to outweigh the bad. Anyway, so, I guess a few things I really wanted to, here's the thing, when I talked about this a couple weeks ago, there's a few things that, I didn't really, touch upon it, where I probably could have. I talked a little bit how General Yuyan was great. She wasn't in many scenes, but she stole the scene when she was in there. She was really good. Not that it took away from the main cast, but those few times she was on screen, she was awesome. Especially when, Polly is setting up to all those toad guys at the gate, and then Frobo and General Yuyan show up to, back her up, and you're like, oh no. They're pretty bad odds for them, the toads. Obviously not Frobo and Yuyan, they were awesome. Sprig versus Grime was great. Way back when the pilot for Amphibia, or the sort of, pseudo-pilot was made, they teased Grime fighting Sprig, and we really got to see that proper here, and it was great. Plus, it was really great how Sprig was somehow able to make Barrel's Warhammer fall on Grime's head not once but twice. That was great. Not like a hammer to the face to bring the bad guy down. Major props also go to Sasha for, she always wanted a dual wield, and she was great. This is why, when Kingdom Hearts 2 first came out, and Sora could wield 2 Keyblades, everyone lost their minds. Because, 2 swords, it's awesome. Don't get me wrong, I do love me a dual. Don't get me wrong, dual wielding is awesome, but I don't really think I ever thought of what I would have wanted. If do I want a sword and a shield, or 2 swords? Because both have their advantages and disadvantages. with the sword and shield, you sacrifice that extra little bit of offense for more defense. But with two swords, it's vice versa. If you have two shields, you have zero offense. Well, unless you're Goofy from Kingdom Hearts. Because Goofy from Kingdom Hearts is awesome with a shield. Of course I'm talking about Kingdom Hearts. It's Disney. What do you expect? Although, speaking of Goofy, Bill Farmer, who is the voice of Goofy, and Hop Hop, was great, as you can imagine. I mean, without question, don't get me wrong, Brenda Song is fantastic as Anne. I'll get to her in a second. But Bill Farmer really does feel like the heart and soul of the cast. I mean, he is a Disney legend through and through. And that's not like hyperbole. There actually is, I've talked about this before, there actually is an award called the Disney Legend. And as you can imagine, it goes to someone who's, done stuff for Disney over many years, such as, again, Bill Farmer being the voice of Goofy, or another instance, Tony Anselmo being the voice of Donald Duck. And then you have other people who've been, Disney legends too, like the 9 old men who were like the 9 original animators that worked for Disney way back in the beginning. Modern day people, I do believe Jon Favreau, he's won it. Ming-Na Wen, who is not only the voice of Mulan, but has done several sort of Disney and Disney Plus related shows like Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and The Mandalorian. Which reminds me, at least about Marvel and George Lucas. Both Stan Lee and George Lucas, I do believe, are Disney legends as well. I want to say they are. So, you've got like a who's who, in a good way, in a very good way, of people who are Disney legends. And you have one of them legit working on Amphibia. I mean, what more could you ask for? But then we gotta get to Brenda Song, who is Anne Boon Choi, the main character. What can I say? Anne's character throughout both seasons, and don't get me wrong, there have been some great moments she's had where it was great for her, but collectively, these first 2 seasons have put Anne through the ringer. Which is why the end of the finale really works. Like, in the end of season 2, and this is spoilers by the way, she gets home. But the planners are with her. Sasha and Marcy are still there, with Marcy, I'll get to her in a second, essentially getting impaled right in front of her right before she goes home. Like, kudos to Matt Brawley and the character writing, as well as Brenda Song's performance, because anyone else would just be completely traumatized by it. And that's just great. And I want to get to Marcy too, because obviously, because this is something that they didn't show the first time I saw it, where it's obvious there was going to, everyone knew there was going to be a season 3, and they weren't sure how it was going to happen after, obviously, the events of season 2. But they show like an intro of what season 3 is going to be like, and, well, for one thing, I'm super excited, but I do have to point out that, they showed Marcy getting impaled only to, spoilers, have King Andreas having like one of those, like, vacuum chambers that are like, that's filled with water, and she's like on an oxygen breathing mask or something. Kind of like the healing chambers in Dragon Ball Z that the Saiyans used on the Frieza saga. Anyway, my point is, it is a little bit jarring that they did that. At the same time, I can also see why it was necessary. All in all, I've said this once, and I will happily say this until my dying day. The season 2 finale of Amphibia, True Colors. And this is actually a message to any and all Avatar: The Last Airbender fans, which I am one of them, but I have to say this. This is what the Crossroads of Destiny should have been. And I'm going to tell you why. If you remember what happens in the Crossroads of Destiny, Zuko essentially joins Azula and helps defeat Aang Katara. Aang gets shot in the back by lightning with Azula. They barely escape Ba Sing Se with the help of Iroh, all that stuff. Here's the thing. Throughout those first 2 seasons, Zuko has been through the ringer, ultimately realizing that his family's messed up, and everyone in the audience who's watching this thinking, okay, Zuko should probably join the good guys. And everyone knew he was. But the season ended with Zuko not doing that, so we had to wait the entire half of the next season, or season 3, book 3, Fire, which was a year and 3 to 5 months, give or take, before we actually saw it happen. Something that we already knew was going to happen. Everyone was aware it was going to happen, and we only had to go through all this again. Meanwhile, with True Colors, it kept everyone guessing until the very end. That's what you do. You keep a very, very somewhat positive, but rather ambiguous cliffhanger ending. That's how you do a proper season finale. Okay? Thank you, Matt Brawley and the good people to Amphibia. This video is dedicated to you guys for all the work you did. Thank you so much for helping me get through a rather rough day yesterday. I don't know what else to tell you. Go watch it if you haven't already. Like, favorite, share, and subscribe, and follow me on social platforms, on YouTube. I'm your home news video for all you guys watching. Don't forget, be a wonderful, wonderful Sunday. Remember, you want to talk to everyone's going to be here letting you all say back. Take care and make good choices. See ya. I'm going to be late next Sunday.